Reviews. Today I'm joined all the way from the opposite side of the globe, all the way in the future. It's Emma from Spooky Astronauts. Emma, say hello.
Hi.
Thank you for doing this. I guess the first thing I'll start with is astronauts, Spooky Astronauts. How did that name come to be?
I mean, I had that name on Tumblr when I was like younger. Yeah.
Mhm.
So but I really like the name. I used to have like usernames like space and time. Like I really like the idea of space. And I think it's almost like, it's really weird to say, but I guess if anyone's going to get it, it's a whole bunch of people who like horror and stuff like that, is like, I like the romantic aspect of like space. And I don't know if you know, like David Bowie, like going to space and being like an alone person out there and being, I don't know, an alien, or like, I don't know if it sounds romantic to most people, but to me it does. And I just like the thought of a spooky astronaut. It's just more of a visual thing. I don't know why, but it didn't really come from anything. It just was a name that I used and I really liked. And I'm glad I stuck with it actually, because it's pretty unique on YouTube.
It's absolutely. I thought there was something way deeper to it, and
not really.
No, it is deep. It's deep. It's just I thought it had some sort of connection to film, but David Bowie.
No. Have you seen A Ghost Story, the film that came out last year?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, that's like a really romantic ghost story, and that when I watched that, I was like, this is what I mean by my name. It sounds really weird, but it's just a visual thing, really. I like.
All right. Well, so how did you get started in YouTube?
So full time, I went to film school, and I went to two different film schools. So I went to a film school and then like a Screen Academy. So I've always been into film and TV, and then I went straight into TV and I edited like a couple of TV shows. So I've always been an editor by trade, and then I've always loved YouTube. And I mean, I've been watching YouTube since I was 17. Believe it or not, that was a long time ago. Might not look it, but it was. And so I guess it was just kind of bringing those two things together. And it took me a while to like kind of get the confidence. And I guess anyone who starts a channel from nowhere, you know, when you first put a video up, it's really awkward and weird, and you know, no one's going to watch it and no one's going to find it. So I was like, I'll just stick with this for 6 months. And if I don't like it, then at least I've given it a go. But it just became such a good hobby. And it was more about meeting people than, you know, making it a business or anything like that. And it just kind of took off from there.
Was it always, I mean, well, is it fair to say that you mainly focus on horror?
Yeah, totally. I think I like to, this is the difference between me in Australia and a lot of people in America, is I feel like Americans are really into slashers, and I like horror as a genre to anything horrific. And that can be like an indie horror movie, you know, like They Look Like People or something like that, where it's more about a psychological aspect. But I feel like a lot of the horror people who review horror movies, they just go for the slashes, which is fine. But I feel like although my channel is kind of all horror, it's kind of like disturbing films as well. It's not just, you know, slashers, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. Is there a more noticeable difference between the culture of Australia and America as far as horror is concerned? I mean, you pegged it ahead. We're mostly slasher, but like,
I mean, I guess Wolf Creek, I would probably say it's a slasher, but it's not like a slasher in the American term, like we go to a summer camp and, you know, everyone's having sex and they're like stabbing everyone. It's a little bit different. And obviously Australian horror movies are more based on the outback and people being scared of, you know, nature and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit different anyway. But then you have films like Babadook and Loved Ones that are kind of more psychology based. I guess Loved Ones is a little bit off, but you know, she's fucked up. So sorry, can I swear?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
I'll say way worse, trust me.
Okay, good. I can't help myself. It's the Australian thing. And so I guess there is a lot of difference within that aspect of it. But I feel like culturally, we don't have a horror scene like you guys have at all. We don't even celebrate Halloween, really. And that blows people's minds. I think it's so funny in America when they realize how different it is in Australia, because with Christmas movies, because it's snowing there and here it's summer and people just can't get over that. So we sing like Jingle Bells and stuff during summer, Christmas, and
the barbecue.
people, yeah, exactly. And so it's just a completely different scene. But I guess, like me, a lot of Australians are kind of Americanized, and especially in the films that we watch. And it's weird to me because everyone's like, oh, it's so good that you're into foreign horror films. And I'm like, well, technically American films are foreign to me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Technically, I guess. But,
so what are I mean, you mentioned Wolf Creek. What are some of the stronger Australian films that you think maybe Americans perhaps haven't heard of? That
I mean, they might be a little bit more airy for you guys. They're not like straight to the point horror.
What's your point?
Trying to say we're dumb? Killing, death, destruction. A movie I really like that I'm sure a lot of people know about is The Tunnel, which is a film set in Sydney. It's a found footage film, which I know that lots of people hate, but I love found footage. And it is about a film crew that go down into these tunnels that are under Sydney. And, it's found footage. I'm sure you can figure out what goes on from there. But I just love it. Little things like that. But then there's also like the classics. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Wake and Fright. That's like a super, I think it's from the 70s, super psychological. It's more of a thriller, but it's so disturbing. And we have the most disturbing films like Bad Boy Bubby, I've spoken about before. That's probably the most fucked up film you'll ever see. I'll totally take that as well. You'll be very surprised. Australia is very messed up, and we have a lot of really messed up films. Something that you probably didn't know is that Australia claims to have the first ever feature film, which is called Ned Kelly and the Gang. And I wish I knew what year it was. But yeah, we have a lot of history in film, but it's not the same kind of history as you guys have, because you have like Hollywood and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So what's the more popular? I mean, so if your winters are summer and vice versa, you're getting. Do you guys get like the same schedule that we do? Like, do you get the bigger movies when it's cold then? Because
no, we get the bigger movies when you guys are finished with them, pretty much. We get them. We're lucky if we have an Australian or a couple of Australian producers or whatever in there, which we, like there's a lot of Australians in Hollywood, obviously. We get them sometimes around the same time, but I believe like we got Winchester, which just came out there. We got it at the same time here, but Insidious has just come out here, which I'm pretty sure came out a couple months ago. So we are a little bit off.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a while back. Wow.
Yeah, it just came out this weekend. So I'm always playing catch up. Somebody
in the chat is asking if you've watched Hangman. It's found footage from the POV of the killer's cameras they install.
No, I don't think I have. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's American. I know exactly what you're talking about, Beautiful Session. Yeah, it's it's okay.
I'll write it down though. I always have my head ready.
Somebody complimented you on your tattoos. I guess I might as well get to that now. What are they, and is there any sort of meaning behind them?
Oh, there's lots of horror. I have lots of horror stuff. So, I mean, I got this. It's actually quite funny because, like this was just meant to be a tattoo, but because I'm, you can't really tell. A lot of people don't know online. I'm really short. So it turned into a half sleeve really fast. But this one just has a lot of like ravens in it. And that was more kind of to signify the era with like William Castle and like Vincent Price, because I'm a huge Vincent Price fan. I have Frankenstein's monster, Creature from the Black Lagoon. And then I just have a whole heap of like, these are different ones from traveling. Like that's from Manchester. I got this one. It has, you can't tell, but it has the pyramids of Giza in it. And I got that after I went to Egypt, not in Egypt. I wouldn't do that. Yeah, I have a lot of tattoos. But I don't think I've been tattooed in like 3 years. The thing is, I got these all when I was like 18 and I'm 28 now. So it's like, it's been a while.
Yeah. So you have some old school, some legends there. Is there any significance?
Oh, like I love Vincent Price, and I think everyone knows that.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm very much into that. And I'm very much into the Universal monsters, mainly because, as I said before, with my like romantic spooky stuff, I really like the idea of I feel like every single creature in there, from like, Wolfman to Creature from the Black Lagoon, they all kind of signify being the outcast. And I really like that kind of story in a movie. I think it works well.
What drew you to horror? Like, do you remember like what it was where you first started watching horror and thinking, you know what? Yeah, I prefer this?
I think it just led me there because I've always liked film, and I always like films that make you feel something. And, you know, going throughout that, and especially going out through your teenage years, like when I was a teenager, the films that were kind of, I guess, weren't popular around there, but the films that I found and really, not really resonated with, because that's weird, but spoke to me in a way, were like Fight Club and like Donnie Darko, and those are films that have like really dark undertones. And so when I keep following that down the rabbit hole, and you keep getting more dark and more deep, and then you just get led to horror, because horror is the most disturbing genre, and that's where like the most depth, and kind of when you walk away from a horror movie, I don't know if it's not a comedy or a slasher or whatever, you kind of feel something. And I guess that's why I've stayed with horror, because it's always the film that's going to impact me the most and really take me to a dark, dark place, which I like to go.
So you're not much of a comedy fan then?
I can be, but I prefer to watch something that's a little bit more profound.
Are there ever moods that you're not in? Like, I mean, considering it takes you to a dark place, is there ever a time where you're like, you know what, I'm going to stay away from it?
Oh, action films? You're talking about like
is there ever a time
films?
where you're like, you know what, I'm not in the mood. I can't horror it out tonight.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think everyone has those times when they're not really concentrating too much. But yeah, there's been a couple of films where I've watched sections in it, and you're just like, it's a bit too much when they're really grading on the disturbing factor or torturing someone or something. But I like the idea of the darkness in the films more than the actual scenes, if that makes sense.
Really?
Do you know what I mean? Like, I like the idea it comes to. And I like a film like have you seen Martyrs, like the French film Martyrs?
I have not.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
what are you doing? Go watch it now.
I don't know. So you're talking about like undertones and stuff, right? Is that what you're referencing?
Oh, well, it has a really good message. Not really good, but a really profound message. And it's one of those films you walk away and you're like, wow. And it's not really about what happens in the film. It's about the message overall, if that makes sense.
Yeah, without seeing it, I see.
You need to watch that, man. Don't watch the American remake either. It's awful.
Okay. Martyrs, France.
Yeah.
So
oh my God.
France,
2009, I believe it is, or 2008. It's French Canadian. Sorry.
Have you seen Raw?
Oh yes, that was one of my favorite films of last year. I thought it was amazing.
So would you agree? Well, is that a similar thing where there's? See, I think it's a giant metaphor for addiction. I don't know.
Ooh, I haven't heard that one.
Oh,
but
really?
I can see definitely there is some addiction in there.
Yeah.
I like how it was a film that didn't have to have a wraparound or a meaning at the end or an explanation, but it did, and that kind of surprised the audience, which I liked by the final scene. I thought that was really clever. I guess I really liked the characters in there, and that's something that foreign film does really well. Makes it a little bit more believable, and the dialogue is just, I don't know, it just works a lot better. And what I think about foreign film is the reason that it works and it's so believable and it's not like cheesy is because you're taken completely out of what you would know as like day-to-day life, you know, in America, and you're taken to a different place, and you don't really know how everything works. So you're not predicting what's going to happen. Right. If that makes sense, like you're in a completely different situation.
Sure.
So not everything is predictable. So that's what I like about Raw is obviously she's in college and you have no idea how it kind of works there. So you're kind of just going along with her and you're kind of believing everything she's telling you about the way of life in a different country.
Yeah, and it's well, this is a poor way to segue into my next question, but it's a female character in a horror movie that isn't really a traditional female in horror. I've asked. She now goes by Mother Mayhem. I've asked Emily's Adventures Harlan. I've asked Gory B, and all seem to not have the I guess the answer I'm looking for. But I guess I'll ask you the same thing. How do you feel about female representation in horror? And is there a way to change it, or is there a problem at all?
I mean, there's obviously a problem with overall in film or overall in most industries with representing females in, giving them I know that it's bad to say giving them an equal opportunity because obviously you don't want to have any industry where someone is employed just because of their gender. And I totally get that. But it is harder to be heard, especially in horror for being a female. It is so hard to be heard. And people just don't want to, yeah. And I think the main thing is breaking down those stereotypes. And if you want to take it back, it's all the slashers that are really fucked that up for us, because it's,
Right.
the girls in distress. And then there's been this wave of, final girl movies come through. And I have to say, I'm pretty bored of like the final girl kicking ass in the end. And that's like, it's just the same story over and over. And it has been since Halloween. No one killed me.
Right. No, absolutely.
And then another
completely
thing that I really hate is the pregnancy in horror movies. Whenever, and I've spoken about this before, whenever a woman is pregnant, like it's almost like there's so many horror movies where the woman is just pregnant because then it gives her an extra stake, and obviously she's protecting a different life, and then all of a sudden her life matters because she's pregnant, and it's bizarre. And I don't know, it's more the victimization of women in horror that has messed it up, and then everyone's tried to be controversial or, I don't know, make a twist and turn it around. And we just need to see something new. And there's some great TV shows and movies out at the moment. I'm sure like Reese Witherspoon has the production company where she did like Big Little Lies and stuff like that. And it's all about making female characters that are complex, but also they're not good and they're not bad. They're in the middle, which is what most male characters are in any movie.
Right.
And it's not about making a simple, straightforward, oh, she's all good or she's all bad. And I think that's where we get stuck. And if we can do that more in horror movies and make a complex female character who's the lead character, which it's happening more and more. I won't say it's getting better. I think that we can kind of rectify some of that, but we just need to move out of stereotypes. But unfortunately, horror movies, especially slashers, are based on stereotypes.
Do you think that stereotype has something to do with why the fan base is so heavily male?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, because there's stuff. I mean, there's stuff that's starting to crack through that. Like, I don't know if you've seen Love Witch.
Yeah.
I think that is something that is, a step in the right direction at least.
Yeah, it's a lot for some people though. I mean, I'm all for it, but I know it's a lot of it's not really winning the men over, is it?
Well, I mean, at the same time, I felt like, watching that movie, I try my best to think down the middle for every time there's a female nude scene, I'm like, well, we need to see somebody's dick, because like it's just so uneven. I don't understand why that's the case. And Love Witch, I would feel a very feminist movie. But
it is.
There's a bunch of nude scenes, and it's just like, well, why do that? It's just there is a lot of nudity in horror that is for no reason. And then it was really funny. I was watching Sleepaway. I think it's Sleepaway Camp or something the other day, and there was what was the movie recently? There was a movie recently, a horror movie or something, where the guy, it was Creep 2, and he got naked, and everyone because I reviewed that, and I'm a huge fan of the first one and the second one. He got naked, and everyone was like, why was he naked? I didn't need to see his dick. And I'm like, the girl's naked. Like, you see this all the time, and apparently it's a big deal. Yeah. It's bizarre. And on Sleepaway Camp, I believe that the guys are in their undies, and it's just, or underwear. I don't know what you guys call it over there. Is that right? Sure. And it's just so funny whenever there is like a nuded, like there's not very many nude scenes with males, and everyone just loses it, and they're like, why would they do that? But you're used to seeing tits all the time. Right. Yeah. And it's more justifying why they put nude scenes in horror movies. Not that I'm offended by it though. I mean, if it's all done consensually, obviously. And I mean, obviously you're already a fan. I guess it's just more of a theoretical question, is like, how do you think horror as a genre could get more females interested?
It's
and
hard.
Then solve world peace when you're done with that too.
I guess for me, it's strange because, I mean, where you guys are, you can go to all the conventions, and you're surrounded by horror fans, and I'm not saying they're all probably alike, but they all are interested in the same kind of thing. Where here, I go see horror movies by myself. I watch horror movies by myself. I'll go to the cinema by myself. So I don't really know a lot of people here. So I don't know the types of females that are really into it, except for the people I know online. And the people I know online, like Gory B and Lindsay and people like that, I'm a Maven, they're all into the same kind of stuff I am. So I'm like, I wouldn't change them, But yeah, I don't know how to get more people into horror because I don't really know any men who like horror here either. So I guess I'm a little bit of a oddball in that.
All right, so on behalf of America and the conventions and stuff, it's heavily male. I mean, there's these subgenres, these independent subgenres that just focus on as much gore and nudity as possible, and I can't help but think. I mean, as much as I am rah for independent filmmakers, I just feel like you're really pigeonholing and I can't imagine a female wanting to watch something like that. It just I don't
wanting to watch something like what?
Just something. Well, let me rephrase that. Not a female, just a casual moviegoer. Like I don't know, horror.
Wanting to watch Raw?
Sure.
What kind of movies are you talking about?
Oh, there's like if you ever make it to America, go to a horror convention, and there's like this subgenre of just it doesn't matter. The plot doesn't matter so much. It's I don't know if you'd call it like gore porn, but it's just as much. Porn?
Or are you talking about like?
Just
naked girls.
Just naked girls getting chopped up and like.
They're at the wrong convention.
Yeah, exactly.
Like those people are at the wrong place. I don't think everyone else is fine.
Yeah. It is. It's heavily a male influence. I just I've asked 4 females this, and I still.
You can't figure out how to solve it.
And I guess who the fuck am I to ask? Anyway, so.
I guess it's just getting more people involved and having more female directors, and I think that they are on the way to do that. And we've seen a lot of films come out like last year that had really good female roles in it, and like you said, like Love Witch and Raw, and it's happening more and more. I saw a film the other day, Thelma, I believe it was called. Thelma, which is a Norwegian film that it's about a female who's struggling with her sexuality. So there's 2 females as like the lead roles. It is happening more and more. So
have you seen Babadook?
Stress too much on it. Have I seen what?
Babadook?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's
Australian.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's a national.
And Loved Ones. If you've seen Loved Ones, that's a female. I love a good female gone crazy. That's one of my favorite things. Love a good stalker film, especially if the stalker's female. So
is that
it happens.
That's a stalker film, the Loved Ones?
I would say ish. Torture stalker.
I haven't.
It's a prom night sitch. Wait, it's not. I guess they do call it prom night there, which is weird because we don't really call it prom. But anyway.
Oh, what do you call prom?
Well, you call it like formal or ball.
Oh, okay. All right.
Kind of sound like I'm making things up. I probably could though.
We call it the punch dance party. So I guess we'll stick to the female aspect. Are there? Being a female YouTuber, I live with one, so I've seen some interesting things. What are the pros and cons of being a female YouTuber?
I mean, I don't think there's anything pro. I don't think that there's a lot of cons. Don't get me wrong. I really don't.
Well, you don't have to name
I don't think that we
get any.
Yeah, I don't think I'm very particular. I actually have a rule on my channel where sometimes you'll see a video and I'm looking a mess, but I have a thing where if I film myself and because especially I film myself after I watch movies particularly, and I don't set it up properly or whatever, do my hair, whatever, I will never re-record a video because of the way I look, and I made that deal with myself since day one because I don't want it to be about that. And I know Gory B's very she's very much like that too. It's not about how we look, it's about what we're talking about. But everyone is really, the pro, but I guess it's a pro for anyone who has a channel that is, has a good network around them. Everyone is so supportive. The only real trolls I get or anything like, demeaning is mainly from randoms. So, and I think that happens to everyone no matter who you are. And I've seen it happen to guys, but it's just not based on their looks. Fortunately, it's more, which I don't know. Actually, is that better? Yeah, that something's
it is
personality.
Odd. It is odd if there's a particular set of tropes with trolls. Females get the skeevies, and males get like I don't know what you call it, jealousy or just straight straight troll.
I mean, I'll be completely 100% with you. I've got my fair few rape threats, but I'm not scared of these people, so it doesn't bother me because it's not like, that's what I'm saying. There's no pros. Like I don't feel like I've excelled in any way because of that. I hope that my channel has been successful because I worked hard at it. That's how I hope it is. But I don't think that there's anything that I've gotten. You know what I mean? Like everyone knows I'm in a relationship or anything. Like it's not like I've ever gotten any advantage because I'm a female. I hope. But cons, I guess we get the trolls, but we get the same trolls as everyone else. And you know what? I get like, bitch, you don't know what you're talking about. But I'm sure that guys get the same thing, just like someone disagreeing with a film. And that's what I like. I don't mind when people disagree, but it's just the language we use. And you can go through on YouTube and you can obviously put in words that you don't want to show up in the comments. So people would be typing a comment and then they'll press enter and it'll be like, this comment cannot be posted. So I've put in a few words in there, which people can't, but it's fine. Like it doesn't bother me. And the one thing that is weird though is when people say that it's censoring if I delete comments. If I delete a comment on my channel, that's my platform. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not gonna, it's not a free for all. Like, I think it's weird when people say, oh no, you have to keep everything. I'll keep it if someone's disagreeing about a film and it's all in politeness, but I'm never going to keep a comment that's a troll just because free speech, because it's not free speech. It's a YouTube is a company and this is my channel within it. So no.
You're getting less and less free, by the way, too. So are there a couple of things that have surprised you about being a YouTuber, whether it be positive or negative?
Positive or I mean, it all happens so slowly that it's weird to even think about. Sometimes I just sit there and I you know, like especially since I've just hit 10,000, which is insane. I just sit there and think, wow. But because it's, you know, especially where I am, I don't get to do meetups and I haven't really met anyone in person that, you know, I met one person came up to me once and said, are you spooky astronauts? And I almost like peed my pants. It was amazing. But because there's no real life interaction and it's all online, it's kind of like a little separate world for me. So it's not, it doesn't feel as real, if that makes sense. So I guess, and as it happened, it just happened so slowly. But it is really nice to know, like, that I can tell my opinions about any movie to people online and they want to hear it. It's lovely. And that's the whole reason I made it as well, is obviously because I liked YouTube and I did editing, but also because I had no one to talk to about horror movies. So it's really nice to be able to voice that, hear everyone's, say back. And it's my own kind of, the way I can put it out is, I don't know, I'm saying that right. The platform that we use and the way that we talk about it is, you know, I kind of put it that way and people can talk back to me. It's not like, I don't know, the discussion I get to dictate, if that makes sense.
Sure.
That's the right wording.
Yeah, it's your channel.
Yeah.
Is the fact that you mentioned that there's not many people to talk to in Australia. If let's just say, for the sake of argument, it was like America over there and there was all these different conventions and outlets to experience, do you think you would be less into YouTube and more into the like physical social aspect of it?
Social? Who wants to do that?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say that in America, I think it's kind of a shield of sorts that we get to hide behind this computer and not really need to go out. Where it's a community, but we get to still be agoraphobic.
Yeah, no, totally. Because I, as a kid growing up on the internet, you know, like I was all into the MySpace and all that kind of stuff, and I've always been into the internet. So it's like it's so much more productive to be able to do YouTube on it instead of, you know, spending time on, you know, Facebook or whatever social media people use. So I might go to conventions more often, but I think it would just be nice to, because I know a couple of people that I've become really close friends with in America, to be able to be around people that I know that I've met. I probably would have meet up a little bit more or at all. But yeah, you're right. I probably wouldn't be going crazy social, but like a convention a year would be amazing. Just one, you know, I don't have that option.
Yeah. So it wouldn't affect your channel or your output, I guess is what I'm saying. If you had the ability to go talk to people or go to these conventions. It's not like it would be taking place of this YouTube outlet, I guess.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't
no,
know if I'm
YouTube
wording
is
it right.
great because internet, you know?
Yeah.
Internet is awesome, and I love that.
Mhm.
So yeah, you're probably right. I probably wouldn't be going and making it more of a social thing. But are people really socially into it? I think that people who are that socially into it probably are in the filmmaking biz. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right. And you don't see them on YouTube that much. I guess it's either one or the other.
Yeah,
it'd
yeah.
be
And
hard to
you'll be
balance both.
surprised who watches your reviews and stuff. Without saying too much, I know some big people who watch smaller channels just because they want to find out what actually horror people, or like I guess any movie reviews, what people actually like, and it's the best way to bypass a critic and go straight into the minds of somebody who will be watching their films and kind of get a feel for where they should go. And a lot of directors watch like YouTube reviews and small ones like us, you know, like
that's interesting timing.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah. It's cool. I guess that's an interesting way to put it. So
what, you don't think it's cool?
Let me try to figure out how to ask this question without being a dick. Do you think that knowing that some of these lesser known / independent directors probably have access to your reviews, do you think that affects whether or not you're completely honest about something?
Oh, I mean, it doesn't affect me because it's after the fact that I found out as well. But yeah, I guess it could affect some people. I got an email recently. I mean, he wasn't a bigger guy, but he was a director emailed me, and I'm sure you get the mass emails when they send it out to everybody. But he kept trying to contact me over and over and over, and I just didn't respond to his first email because if it's spam, because as you know, when you get reviews, if people in the comments, they might not know, when you do reviews, you get, you know, hi, like I have a film, please check out this. This is the screener, and they give you a free link to watch it. But I don't want to spend 2 hours watching a movie that you know, that you guys are gonna have to pay for, and you know, it's not on Netflix or not general release, blah blah blah. Anyway, this guy contacted me and kept saying that his film was, you might have got the same email actually, pretty high on the Amazon list of like top 10 films from something, I guess top 10
how
recently bought films. Just a couple weeks ago. You probably know who I'm talking about.
I think so.
And he kept contacting me, and he's like, "Please review my film. Like it's right next to can't even wait. It's right next to It Comes at Night. Like they're getting sold like the same amount. Blah blah blah." And I'm like, "What the hell? Like I never even heard of this." So I just looked into IMDb, and I looked at the reviews, and the reviews were all crap, like, you know, 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, 10,
Right.
10, 10, 10, 10. And you could see the 10s were obviously by people who worked on the film. And this is what I have a problem with, because that's what fucks up the rating system, not people reviewing things because they're paid for it, because no one's fucking paid for it. But people who work on the films, which makes it so unfair, because if I hadn't looked into that, I might have watched the film and that was just a waste of time.
Right.
Where it's just dishonest.
Yeah.
And then they the charts that way. So I think that the problem is more there at the moment with online reviews anyway. But I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming, have you been paid to do a review? Have you been influenced to do a review? Because I pay for every movie ticket. There's nothing I get for free.
I know. I have not been paid. I've been.
I'd love to.
I've been scolded for a review or two. If you look in the chat, Lindsay's got it absolutely pegged. So without mentioning it for the future.
Oh no, I did see this. This was on Lee's.
Well, yeah, that's a glowing review.
Okay.
Poor Emily got caught in a fire there, and.
Oh, okay. I'm kind of picking up what you're putting down a little bit.
Yeah, maybe off air, but
Well,
is it? Do you think it's strange that there's this like unwritten? I don't want to call it like a rule, but like this understanding where it's like, hey, listen, I'm going to give you early access to this movie, but you can't shit on it.
No, because I mean, you wouldn't do that. Obviously, you didn't do that. So, but like, didn't listen to what the person was saying. But if they give you, No, because that's not the way it works. I have said to someone before when they've sent me an independent film and I happened to have the time to watch it, I sat down to watch it. It was awful. And I said, oh, fuck, I'm just not going to do anything on this because it's not beneficial. No one's going to even know about it. So I'm not, and you know, my main thing is I try and stop my viewers from watching crap movies. But if the movie's not in front of them, what's the point of bringing attention to it? Anyway, so I just kind of left it. And then the person kept emailing me saying, when is your review going up? And I just replied and I said, I don't think it's beneficial to you or me to put it up. So I'm just not going to do it because it's not beneficial. So, and it wasn't, you know, it was, I get what you're saying though. And man, I got to be honest with you, I would love to get, you know, $5,000 for a fucking review and call it a day.
No, absolutely.
But unfortunately, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's strange. Unfortunately, a lot of independent filmmakers need folks like us to get the word out, but that doesn't give you the pass to just make shit. Like, there's good movies out there, so you know we're trying to find the good ones. We're not just trying to watch totally. Hey, watch all of them.
Yeah, no, totally. You know, I did. I probably wasn't going to say this, but it's fine. I did Tragedy Girls recently, which is a horror movie. It's kind of more independent, I guess. And I know for a fact that the director watched it, my review afterwards, because I know someone who he knows. Anyway, and that's really embarrassing because I gave it like a 6 out of 10. So I felt bad afterwards. But, you know, when you don't know before the fact, it's fine. But it's as long as you're not, I mean, you can tear something apart, but I think when you do a review, you're also giving them constructive criticism. Right. And that's what they want. They don't always want to watch people assume that they're watching it to feel good about themselves. They can see the reviews come in, but they're looking at what people like and what people dislike. Right. And that's why I talk to a lot of people, because they want to know, like people email me and they just say, I just want to know what you like and what you don't like, because they don't know what works with horror, because it bombs or it like goes amazing. And
nobody's the same either. Right. Right.
So they are more into the constructive criticism. So I wouldn't be too worried about tearing something apart as long as it's constructive. Although I'm sure, you had a situation with that.
I mean, I think what it all comes down to is, you know, we're not saying go away. We're just saying do better next time. It's unfortunate. It's really.
My main beef is when I get those people who try and send you subscription boxes. I know that a lot of people do this, and it's probably not a good opinion, but they try and do it for free, and they're saying you just get this free box, and you can open it in front of all of your viewers, and that's your payment. And I think they should be paying people for doing that, because I think that that's really wrong. That's free advertisement. Right. And if you had a bigger channel, they would be paying you. It's just because they know they can get away with it. And that's more where I get the beef, because I'm like, I can see how people are being used, and it's not cool.
We'll hold that thought. We'll get to in a second there. All right. So the horror community, I mean, we mentioned Killer Flicks, Lee's group, which is quite an awesome place to be on Facebook for horror fans. There's a bunch actually. Are there pros and cons to the community of horror?
Like online, I assume you're talking
sure, to me? In general, you know, whatever you're thinking of. If it's not online, then sure.
I guess people are very opinionated, but so are we. That's why we do what we do.
Sure.
And I don't know. I think that the horror community, especially if you're talking about even people I've met like you and like Dino and Lee. I didn't see Lee. Hi, Lee. Lee. Mother Mayhem. All those people that we've got to know. You can tell. I can tell. I don't know one bad person. I really don't. I think everyone's awesome. And anyone who was bad is kind of fizzled out and just doesn't come around anymore. But I think within the community, it's amazing. And for everyone who is commenting and, you know, isn't within the community of actual YouTubers, it's probably nice for you guys to know that we do all chat to each other and we all really support each other, and everyone has like private chats and all that. And we actually really do all get along, and it's lovely. And I think that is such a good thing. And, you know, Dino is one of my oldest friends on YouTube.
Dino's an absolute saint.
Oh, he is. I love him so much. And he knows that. So I think that I have made genuine friends Who's on there? There's Felix is also on the chat. He's under Raiders. He's one of my patrons, and we're like close, and it's so nice. It's so unexpected to be actually close to people, especially online. At my age, so it's really nice. And yeah, if anything, I think the community is so tight with horror because it's such a niche as well. Because with other, if it was, especially with YouTube, you think about like lifestyle and DIY and like beauty gurus and stuff. It's too big and it's too broad, and there's too many people trying to break in, where here it's so niche and everyone's like, oh, have you seen this movie? We're all into the same thing at the same time. And I think it really brings everyone together. So I think it's very positive. From what I've seen, I haven't had really bad people, and I just, kind of give them the flick if anyone gets on my nerves. It sounds really bad. But, if anyone starts undermining you, which I have had before, where people are, like, you do something and they're like, oh my God, that was my idea. Great idea for taking that, or things like that. I just block them, because it's not worth the drama, because there's so much good in their community, if that makes sense. I don't know if you've had people like that before for you. Like,
no, usually I'm the guy that gets blocked, because I can't. I'm constantly speaking sarcastically, and I just wish they would invent a tone button for the internet, because like I get it. If you read my words, I look like a complete cunt, but I'm just I'm joking 99% of the time, and usually.
Do you know what in Australia what the saying is with cunt and mate?
No.
So in Australia, you call your mates, so your friends, you call them a cunt. And then you call your cunt's mate. So, for instance, if you were annoying me, I'd say, hey, mate, watch out. See how that's scary? But otherwise you're like, oi, cunt, come over here.
That's awesome. I'm going to adopt that.
So there you go. It's completely different. So I get the tone thing, because I say things and people, I'm not really good at speaking either. I pronounce things wrong all the time, and I hear so much shit from that. But people just hold on to little things, and I don't know what it is. I don't know why it annoys people so much on the internet. Do
you think that I know I'm sick of it. Perhaps I'm speaking for myself. The horror community seems to focus way too heavily on one of three major characters / franchises. Like anytime there's Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, like.
Yes. If someone asks me like what my favorite Halloween is one more time, I'm like, I don't know, like the first one was great. Like, it's so mad. And this is what I say about slashers. And people think I hate them, but it's only because it's like drilled. And I feel bad, because I know Lee's like everyone in here is probably a huge slasher fan. But that's why everyone has their own thing. I love, and this is, everyone fucking hates this, but I love Paranormal Activity.
Really?
But you don't hear me harping on about it.
Yeah.
But I like, Universal monsters, and I guess people have different things that speak to them in a different way. And I think that Americans mainly love those kind of movies is because it's such a nostalgia factor for them. And you kind of grew up with the franchise, where we didn't really grow up with that franchise like plastered everywhere, and Halloween where everyone dressed up as them and things like that. I love a good Freddy Krueger, but I'm not like obsessed, But I totally agree. And that's why people tend to comment on my channel and say, oh my God, it's so cool that I find out about films I don't know, or like foreign films and things like that, and talk about something different. But you know what? There's people like, Dead Meat, James from Dead Meat. He just does kill counts and stuff like that. And it, he's got the subscriber count to show that people do want to listen to that. I just, unfortunately, I'm not knowledgeable in that, and I can't share that information, but each to their own, I guess. Some people just like, watching slime videos on YouTube, and it's, you know what I mean? Like, if you like it and that's what you want to watch, that's fine. But yeah, no, I can't relate to that conversation over and over, unfortunately. I wish I could, but yeah.
Are there some movies where you're just like, if you could just stop talking about Halloween like 20% less, and then go watch blank, your world would be turned upside down?
Oh, you can't really compare those films, though, can you?
Well, are there movies that you feel that perhaps just aren't getting enough attention?
Oh, yeah, 100%. So many films. I don't even know where to start. Like, all the films, I have a couple of disturbing movie lists video things that I've done, and Dancer in the Dark, where it has Bjork in it. I fucking love that movie. So many movies that are so good that you're just like, I mean, you haven't even seen Martyrs, so
I have it written down. I have Loved Ones written down too. So
yeah, I mean, there's so many good films, but I think that people watch those slasher films because it's like a comfort, a familiarity, and it's nice to be obsessed with something. And I have to admit, like, I'm obsessed with some like reality trash shows, and I feel like maybe it's the same thing. And I love my good, like, I Know What You Did Last Summer is kind of my slasher that I'm obsessed with. Really? And I can understand the obsession. Yeah, Jennifer Love Hewitt, though. Come on. Okay. And then, I can understand the obsession with Scream, because I think Scream is quite clever in so many different levels. So, yeah, I mean, but there's no point in me picking out individual movies to compare to those because they're such huge franchises. Something I really love is Puppet Master. I love Puppet Master. I think that's so clever and so spooky and weird. But there's no real franchises that I guess compare to them, and I think that's probably where the issue.
Maybe not franchises, but just like Joyride. The first Joyride I felt like was really. I mean, listen, I don't think it's a 10-star movie, but I feel like a lot more people should know about that. I'm off the top of my head, I don't know. Final Girls, that movie's hysterical. I really feel like that should have a lot more attention.
Really? Don't you feel like that story's been told before, though? I mean, it's good, it's great. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like the final girl. Like,
yeah, well, I mean,
that is Halloween.
The mockery of it. I'm not saying Final Girl. I'm talking about the comedy with.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Because there was two movies titled Final Girl. That Final Girl and Final Girl is that year.
You're talking about the one where it's like she goes back in time and.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. Don't get me wrong. I thought that got quite a lot of hype. It's interesting the hype difference between here and there because.
Oh, right.
I see the hype just on Twitter. Like everyone just tweeting out, oh my God, I watched this movie, blah, blah, blah. Or the reviews come in. But I don't get the hype where you guys get it at the cinema because most of those big movies don't even come out here. Like we get, The Insidious and The Conjuring and all that, but we don't get a lot of the other movies that go out there. So when you talk about hype, my hype is you guys. My hype is the horror community talking about stuff. So,
well, what's that like then? If like you're witnessing the hype and everything on Twitter, and then like it dies down, and then it's like, oh, it's finally here in Australia. Now I get to watch it with no
that's
sort of.
That's what it's like, and that's why I always tweet. I'm like, does anyone care about? Because I haven't seen the new Chucky. I'm like, does anyone care? Does anyone want to see my review? Does it matter?
We finally got Pet Sematary, so I'm going to check it out this week.
Oh my God! That is one of my favorite horror movies. That's a great one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love that movie.
Absolutely.
Has everything.
And it's still good. Don't need to remake it.
Well, yeah, a bit like that. So it's all going to come back. It's going to come back around like every, what is that? Every 30 years? What is it? Like the remakes are just going to 27 years, I should say. Yeah, that's what it is. Going to keep coming around. So there's no stopping it. We'll see what happens next. It's going to, my point is it's going to keep happening again and again and again. So it should be interesting.
Is that, and if it isn't, are there things that bother you about horror that perhaps could be holding it back?
It bothers me that it's the same film without a different story or a different angle. I don't mind when there's a remake and it's like it takes a different approach, like Evil Dead. I thought that was really clever. That the remake took the addiction route and talked about like drug addiction and made it into like she was almost addicted to drugs. That's why she was fucked up. And I love that. Like I love that subtle detail and any twist they can make. I mean, it can go wrong really easily. And these people have everything against them. And it's easy for us to talk shit and criticize online, but these people put years into this work and then just something could be off. It could be dialogue, it could be acting, it could be the way the film is edited together, and it just doesn't make sense. And I do feel for people who make these films that take so long and then it just doesn't turn out how they envisioned. So it kind of goes both ways, where when I watch a movie that is remade and you're like, oh, dang, like I feel bad for them. I feel bad for us. It's just not a good situation for anyone. Nobody's comfortable here. Yeah, totally. All right. So the big thing, I guess, not for all of YouTube, but there is a bit of a crackdown
on YouTube, and you're kind of spearheading this movement, this
accidentally.
hashtag. Is it accidentally, really?
Oh, totally. I have ideas all the time. I'm like, oh my God, I should do this. And then I'm like, nah, I don't know if that's a shit idea. And literally, it wasn't even, I was at work, and I'm sure that everyone in the chat knows that YouTube has changed the rules where they're going to demonetize channels that don't have 4,000 hours of watch time or 1,000 subscribers. And I was like, man, it's got to be a way around this though. And I'm like, oh my God, what if I just made a playlist and added in everyone, and then we all just put it on repeat? And it was just like, oh, what if? And I was like, I don't know if anyone will take off. So I was like, you know what, I'll do it. And I was like, oh, how do I announce this? Maybe I'll just do a video. And it wasn't a thought out thing. I was just like, okay. I did on like a Friday night, and then I just had everyone go crazy about it, which is insane because I didn't know if, everyone was going to be like, yeah, shut up. Like, and some people did say like, you're cheating the system. I'm like, yeah, well, it's YouTube. Like, yeah. And I think it's more of a,
you should film in front of a suicide forest. And
yeah. That would have got a little bit more views. Maybe some news articles. That would have been great.
Yeah, just wear a doofy hat when you're doing it. That's all.
Yeah. But I think it was more, I think that people have it wrong where they think that, oh, well, if they haven't got 1,000 subscribers or that much view time, oh, it's because they're not putting enough work in there, or their quality is not good enough for their videos and they should step that up. Number one, like, let's be frank, I do 2 videos a week. It takes me a long time, and I get paid like, I don't know if you guys said it's dilly squat.
Yeah,
I get paid nothing, penny in comparison to the whole thing. Like, I don't even know what the math is. I maybe get paid like $5 a video, if that's it. That's being completely honest, through YouTube revenue. But it's not just about that. It's about discouraging smaller YouTubers to like keep going, because even though I started 3 years ago, it's taken me 3 years of doing 2 videos a week. And that's, if I go away for Christmas holidays, I make sure those 2 videos are up. It's a hard thing to keep going. And I think when smaller channels are being told you have to achieve this certain thing, otherwise you aren't valuable to our platform, I think that's the difference. So it's more encouraging people to say, like, if you really put in the effort, and a lot of them have been putting, I know that we have the playlist, but a lot of them have been, putting up more videos and really trying to amp it up. And I think it was just that people just need a little bit of a push to show that they can do it. And before it was just like you didn't have any of those boundaries, and it could take as long as you needed. And a lot of people work and a lot of people study. So it does take a lot of, time. And I think people were just trying to roll through it as they can. But now they've had to, it has a deadline on it. And I think it's just, it's more about encouraging people to get into it and that their channels matter. And I feel like, although, sure, they won't make that, 50 cents per video, it's just discouraging. If anything, it's discouraging to show that they don't really matter to YouTube. And I think that is the main message. And I think people, oh, whatever, if you can't monetize your videos, blah, blah, blah. But it's all, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's all
absolutely.
about, and I think that people just get mad. They're like, oh, they don't deserve it. And it's not about that. It's about people wanting to belong in a community, and they're being told that they're there and everyone else is here. And I don't like that.
To play devil's advocate a bit, do you think that, well, not do you think, have you noticed any people where perhaps, they're taking away from the spirit of the thing, where I don't want to say there are a couple that don't deserve the help. I mean, I don't know how to put this without sounding like an absolute
do it so I don't have to.
Well, I mean, I've seen quite a few arguments. I mean, I myself am part of that. I don't have the watch hours because my channel was just shit for the last year.
You don't have the watch hours? I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, wow. That's why I have you here. I'm using you. But there's some. I could recognize that, my channel was shit for a while. So, I'm being.
Everyone's channel was shit for a while. Like, where do you start?
Right. So I guess like some of it, do you think that maybe some people are a little too secure in their content that maybe shouldn't be, that like, maybe put a little bit of a black eye on the movement. I'll say it. I think there's a couple of people who are just like, really? Do you do you think you need the help? Because I don't.
I'm loving seeing you struggle through this.
I'm trying so hard. Like it's so easy for me to piss people off, and I try not to. But yeah. Do you know what I'm trying to say? At least?
You know? Well, yeah. I'm. It's so easy to let you struggle. Are you saying that you think that there's people? Now I'm trying to fucking paraphrase. Are you trying to say that there's people that could put more work into their channels? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's a very delicate way of putting it. that they've kind of latched onto this movement and said, yeah, you know what, I deserve this, that, and the other, and you know, somebody like you, I mean, I could see in your intro alone, is that After Effects that you're fucking with on that? Just the intro?
No, well, it's just a plugin, really. But it's all Premiere, and it's for me. I know it sounds really like up myself, but for me, it's not hard because that's what I do, and that's why. You know, maybe that is why. That's a huge thing. Is people do say to me, "I stayed around because of the quality of your content," but that's because I naturally have that because that's what I do for a living. So it's easy for me. So I think it's even harder for people who maybe their content isn't quite there, but they try, and because they don't have any of the skills and they have to learn all that. So lucky for me, I didn't. So it's maybe they're even trying harder than I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm making you look like an asshole. I love it.
No, it's fine. No, I don't need help looking like an asshole, first of all. That's a better way to put it. So I'll kind of pivot and say, do you think that there's something behind a better quality video? Like if you have two videos that are reviewing Bye Bye Man, and one's just some dude on his phone walking in a park, and another one has these edits, these cuts, these clips, is there something where you just like, come on, you gotta.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but the way I started watching YouTube is when everyone started on webcams. So I was always, my idea of how to make a successful YouTube channel was to always put your personality to the forefront, but then also have interesting, engaging things to talk about. So I always make sure, I'm not, obviously I can't censor myself if I tried, but I let my own little quirks and, fucking the ways I pronounce things wrong come through. And I think that it's always the mesh of personality and content, but content is always more important than quality. I totally think that. I think,
really?
Yeah, sure. If someone's, I mean, if you look at like Vines and things like that, like the funniest things are just things caught on camera, and doesn't have to be high quality. I do think if you want to do a setup in a studio and you want to do a, what do you call it? Like a, like a game, play with me, Twitch stream, whatever the fuck they are. That has to be a certain quality. But if someone is talking about something and it is interesting enough and they are on their phone walking through a park, sometimes you're interested to like what's around them and like where do they live. And I do think that quality to a certain extent, I'm not saying like a 2-pixel fucking like webcam, but I don't think that quality is more important than content at all, because you could have the best quality in the world and the shittest personality and just sit there and be like, yeah, this movie was great because it was great. And like you've got to have something to actually say.
Yeah.
You've got to have like a combination of everything. And can I, 1 second, I want to show you something.
Oh boy. All right. So there's
don't worry.
There's a request for you to say something in a Southern accent.
I don't even know how. Oh my God, I hate, people always ask me to do this. I'm not very good. What should I, tell me what I should say.
Well, he says Mars.
Huh?
He says Mars, which isn't that's his
means.
accent coming through. That's him saying Michael Myers. That's his.
I was like, I don't understand.
CP, you're drunk. What are you talking about?
I'm gonna try and do this. Someone's comment. I'll try to do Lee's comment. I feel like I'm gonna say this wrong. Personality is huge. Is that Southern? I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either. That's
I think the dullest person.
That sounds a little southern. Yeah, that's
equipment. What is that? What is that accent? I don't know.
a little.
I'd love to see you try and do Australian because that's actually really hard. Someone said I sounded Irish in here. Irish people, I can't even understand them.
Yeah.
Actually, do you know Berlin Syndrome, the horror movie that came out last year?
Yeah, that's on Netflix just recently, actually.
Yeah, so it's an Australian movie, obviously set in Berlin though. And someone commented on my review of it saying that they should put subtitles on it. I'm like, you do know Australians speak English, right? It's a bit offensive. But anyway, my point was, I just want to tell you quickly, this is the camera I record everything on. It's not a big camera. It's a tiny camera. This probably cost me, like, to be frank, it probably cost me like $900 at the time I bought it, but this was 3 years ago. This is a Sony, I think it's like an RX 103. You could probably buy this for like $800. I know it's a big investment. This is what I'm saying. I record everything on this, every single thing that I've ever done. So I'm not playing with this huge ass camera and all this stuff. You just need to find something that works, that you can rely on, and that's it. I think people think that I have this huge ass. People don't realize that I do the same vlogging and everything like that on just like it's like just a handheld fucking camera. And I don't know. Some people just get confused sometimes and think that quality means you have to get all expensive and things like that, but it's not really that. It's just making sure you have everything set up properly. That was my point.
So I'll take no, it's fine. I'll take 2 steps further and continue into the tunnel of assholishness. So if they don't have the quality and they don't have the personality, what do you think the best tip for somebody who's just if
you don't have a personality, I think you might have an issue.
Yeah. If they're just on their laptop talking in front of a blank wall. Shit. And
like
just
me?
oh yeah, we're both in front of black walls.
I'm literally on my laptop talking. You can really see my laundry. It's just there.
So like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like somebody who's not really what.
You have to be 100% yourself, and that is where people, especially putting a video on the internet, it's very fucking scary, and especially people know you, it's awkward and it's weird, and a lot of people in my real life don't know I do this because it's too it's complicated to explain to people as well if you don't know about YouTube what you actually do. And you just need to be 100% yourself, because if you try and go on there and try and talk like every other reviewer, which is, I don't go into detail with lots of stuff and I say things completely different to other people. And that's the main thing, is that if you do it your own way, you're always it's going to show through that you're being authentic. And as long as you pick a film, start with a film or start with a couple of films that are your favorite, and you got that passion, people will see that. That's why I get like really into it, because I'm like, but it's great therapy after you watch a really shit movie to be like, oh my God, I hated this, and like you've got to really get into the moment. And as long as you're passionate about a film, that's great. But if you watch a movie, I've watched so many movies and I'm like, okay, I'll review this for like my video tomorrow, so I need to get it done. I'll watch the movie and I have nothing to say about it. It's all right, or it wasn't great, but there's nothing, no talking points. I won't do it. I'll just do another one, because it's not worth it. You know what I mean? You've got to be you've got to have passion about what you're talking about. So if you don't have a personality, I really don't know what you're going to do. But I don't think I've met anyone who doesn't have a personality. I met people who are more quiet, but I think that once you open up, you've really got to open up on camera and be authentic. And if you can't do that, it probably won't work, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a good way to put it. You kind of have to dance like no one's watching, so to speak. You really gotta, not be so introverted.
Which is hard. It's so hard, and no one is ever going to start with a great video.
Yeah, in the beginning,
my first one is shit.
Yeah.
My first couple months. Like you just learn.
Yeah. All right, so I don't know how many people I pissed off, but
who have you pissed off?
So what? Were you surprised at the reaction you got for the hashtag savehorrortube?
I was very surprised, because I was walking. We went out afterwards. I was walking my dog, and I was just looking to see if anyone had watched it on my phone, and I just kept seeing it go up, and I was like, oh, this is. I know that some people, when you post something on your channel, if it's. I'm sure, I don't know if people in the comments know this. If it's under a certain amount, there's a sweet spot on YouTube. 8 minutes is the sweet spot for content. So that's if I guess anyone in the community who doesn't have a YouTube channel is just looking to watch a video, or anyone, if you're going to watch a video and you see it goes for 8 minutes, automatically psychologically you're like, that's not too long, not too short, that's the sweet spot. So those videos have more clicks on them. This video was like 3 minutes, so I was like, I don't think anyone will watch it. It says Save HorrorTube. I don't know if people already know about this and they're over it. I don't know if people, I didn't know, because if you have a percentage, I have 10,000, but I don't get 10,000 views on any of my videos.
Right.
So I didn't think that there would be that many clicks, but it was more people who were referred to me, which was weird. I guess people were tweeting out, hey, like, this is what I'm going to do is start watching this playlist, and this is the video that explains it. So I had a lot of people going on there and then writing really nice comments saying like, thank you for doing this. This is great, blah, blah, blah. So that I wasn't expecting. I was expecting to get maybe a couple hundred views of people on my subscribers to being like, oh, this is great. Like, I'll check this out. But I didn't think anything would happen. I really didn't think. I really, like, when you put an idea out there and it's, it's just like your channel, you start doing something, but you're not really sure where it's going to go. I didn't have any expectations at all. So
yeah. And
this
also isn't the first time that horror or the horror YouTube community has been targeted. Do you think that we're unfairly targeted?
I mean, it's
with the monetization at least.
Well, to be honest, not really, because I talk about a lot of fucked up things, and I work in at the moment I work for an online publishing, like a newspaper, but their online website, and I know advertisement, and who you got to align yourself with in advertisement to hit your demographic, and it makes sense that they don't want to put Kleenex ads or ads about fucking diapers in front of someone talking about like a hacked up woman. Like, it makes sense.
Sure.
And this is their money. You got to remember, this isn't YouTube paying us. It's the advertisements that are paying YouTube that put the advertisements on our video. So they don't want to put their clip in front of us, which makes sense to a certain extent, because a lot of people, when they watch my videos, they see at the start a trailer for a movie and a horror movie, which obviously they have figured out how to put the horror genre with the horror advertisings, which makes complete sense, because I think that is perfect. Because if someone watches my video and then they get a trailer for a horror movie, like, that is you can't get any more perfect, you know what I mean?
It's
advertisement friendly content, because it makes
distinct,
sense.
Right? Yeah.
But I just wish that it's more the advertisements. We need more advertisers who are doing horror content, who want their content to be put in front of horror reviews. So it's more not really the problem that lies with YouTube. It's the problem that lies with the industry and us picking a niche part of YouTube where it isn't friendly for everybody. I wish there was more advertisers,
Yeah.
But there's not.
What are some of the strangest ads you've ever seen in a video of yours?
I don't know, because I don't really watch my videos after I put them up.
Really? Okay.
You watch your own videos after you put them up?
I make sure that it's,
I do that beforehand. I have like a whole filing system, because my greatest fear, and it's going to happen one day, is I'm going to put up an unedited video, like the raw clip, and it is not good. It would just not be good for anyone. I'm not like wearing pants. Like, it'd be like me walking in. It would be so bad.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I title my raw clip, and then when I export it, I'll put like an F in front of it, and then like an R for review, but an F will be like that's the final, because I'm so terrified. So I always check beforehand, and because I have my little intro, I can just like press play at the start and figure out, okay, that's the right one. I'm putting the right one up. Aren't you scared? Like, oh my God, that's happened to people before where they put unedited videos up. I mean, you're probably fine.
It doesn't matter. I can go an hour before I need to really worry. Lindsay said getting a tampon commercial before we watched the movie.
Oh, that's great. Awesome. Yeah. I think people should screenshot. If you guys ever see any interesting ads before horror reviewers or any reviewers,
or vice
I'd
versa,
love to see.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's a pretty good idea. So the wait, I have the picture for it. The creepy crawl.
Oh yes, Gory Bees. Well, I guess horror addicts. I know Gory Bee put a lot of
Yeah, no, she's busting her
Yeah.
ass for as kind of a
I know.
piggyback.
I just made a playlist. This is all the work. This is the real work. Yes. So I don't know if everyone knows about this in the comment section. Pretty much, Gory Beers put on a creepy crawl, which is going to be an hour block for 24 hours on different smaller YouTube channels, and they're going to guest some bigger YouTubers, people with a couple more people subscribe to them. So it's just going to be like 24 hours, and anytime you can come in, you can see. I think they have the schedule up on her website now.
Yeah.
Which I guess is, what is that, horroraddicts.com or something, probably.
I think it's horroraddictstv.com.
That's it, horroraddictstv.com. And so anytime during that period, if you want to pop in, there's going to be someone live stream, is to bring more viewers to smaller channels, and that way they can get some watch time through that. But also finding out about smaller channels, I think, is the big thing, because it is hard to find anyone on YouTube. It's really hard. And that's next weekend?
The 17th into the 18th, which I guess for you would be what, the 18th into the 19th?
Yeah. So just don't confuse people.
Yeah, that's well, definitely the 18th for some people.
Yeah, yes.
So I'm just about done. I'm gonna leave it to the chat if they have any questions. If you're all right with that, Emma.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me on.
No, thank you for doing this.
I'm sorry if I made it difficult for you.
I
like watching you struggle. It's like one of my favorite things.
No. It's that's a weekly occurrence here. So if you have anything in the chat that you need to ask Emma, by all means, go ahead. And I guess I'll ask you what time. Do you know your time frame for? Yeah,
I'm with Nightmare Maven, which I'm so psyched because I haven't spoken to her on camera before, which I'm so excited. And Dino, and I'm looking at the link. I do know the time, but can I remember the time is my question. Dino, are you in there? I'm trying to find the actual list.
Oh yeah, Dino's going to be a part of it too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in the
he's in your hour.
The same one. Oh, I'm trying to find. I believe it's 10. Oh god, it's half. Oh wait, here we go. Creepy crawl. Sorry guys. When is it? Blah, blah, where is it? Okay, wait, no, I'm on Nightmare Maven's channel. If you haven't subscribed to Nightmare Maven, check her out. It is at 8 p.m. I'm sure this is Eastern Standard Time, is that?
Which is the time? If it's on her channel, it's Pacific, so it's 11 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, so we're 8 p.m.
And see now Dino's coming in and he's saying midnight Eastern.
Oh my god, Dino.
Everybody's all confused.
That's the one, Dino. Don't mess everyone up.
So they're asked, have you seen Cloverfield Paradox?
No, I haven't yet. I need to. See, this is the thing though. You guys are so lucky because you had Super Bowl and then this came out straight afterwards, right? Super Bowl happens a Monday morning in Perth. So you know, like I'm at work and everyone's like, oh my God, Cloverfield, I can't wait to watch it. I'm like, well, fuck all you guys. And I've had a really busy week, but I might actually get around to watching it today. But it's one of the rare movies I'm going to watch with my partner because normally he doesn't like horror movies, but we watched the other Cloverfield together. So just got to wait for a good time for both of us, but that's good.
Well, so is your boyfriend, is he into horror as well?
No, he's into sport. He's actually at the UFC. You know the UFC? Is it the UFC? Man, I don't know what sport
MMA. Yeah, just.
You know that's in it will be, what is it? Sorry, I'm just looking at my messages. Felix, are you still there? You know. Wait.
Mary's asking how your doggy is.
Oh, he's so good. He's sleeping. Yes, it is the UFC, by the way. The UFC is in Perth right now. So
really?
When you're watching it, yeah, it's like a world tour. So yeah, he's sport, and I'm obviously this is the best way to tell the difference between our personalities. He's at the UFC right now, paid like $300 for tickets, and I'm here talking to you. You know, that's the difference.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Sure.
No,
sure.
It's good. By the way, from it.
Oh.
I just got him. He's a rescue greyhound. So.
What kind of dog is it?
Greyhound.
Oh, you said that. I said.
Yeah, it's actually his birthday today. He's 2.
Oh, he's 2 days. Oh, 2. Yeah,
2 days. Yeah,
my
that's
birthday
how
was yesterday. I was going to say, hey, he's 2 days younger than me, but
No, it's 2 years
a
old.
lot younger than me. Somebody, how's The Office coming?
Yeah, good. I'm sure everyone's seen it.
Oh,
in the
you have a
latest
new
video.
backdrop. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I actually have my ring light on now. I don't just to bring some extra light, but I got this ring light, which was pretty sick. Which was the main thing I needed. But as you can hear, it's really loud here. But yeah, it's good. We just moved. We actually just bought a place, so we always had one bedroom before in our old apartment. So everything was kind of, I try to film in every corner and aspect, but here it's great because now I have my own little horror section. So many people for so long were just like, you need to put horror movies, but like posters behind you. Like, what are you doing? So mad.
What in your opinion, what's the best looking, like what type of backdrop draws? What do you think the best backdrop is for a horror channel? Not, it doesn't have to be your own.
I like mixing it up. Like I like when it's a little bit different here and there. But it's hard for me because I like what a lot of people do. Like Dino's is insane with all the like figurines everywhere, and Lee's is cool, like a nice creepy corner, and it almost looks like all these posters are his wallpaper. But I'm trying to go with something a little bit different because I want to, like, especially being a female, kill like the stigma of I'm like a goth girl. So I'm trying to make it like, I was trying to make it a little bit lighter, and I like had like a fluffy pillow and stuff. And then I started putting all my posters up, and it's like people, being hanged and skulls everywhere. So I'm trying, I don't know. I just think as I said before, as long as the content is good, it doesn't really matter. But I do like, I did a lot of mine just in my lounge room, and I do like just sitting, chilling on your couch.
Yeah.
As long as you have like a nice, like you're in focus, and you have a nice, the background's nice. I think it's easy as long as it sounds good, and I'm not really good at sound, so I don't really have much to say. I'm awful. Do you record your sound separately and like sync it up? Because I don't play that.
Yeah, well you're educated, right? You went to film.
Yeah, I am, and I don't do it. I don't play that.
No,
I need to.
I can't because I have a lav mic, and when I hear the audio from the camera, I'm just like, oh, it's not even close. It's.
I know, that's why you don't hear it, because if you hear your external mic and then you go back to your camera sound, you can never. You're like, oh my god, it's so bad. But I just do my camera sound, and then I don't hear it. So I never put my mic. I could probably use, because I have this mic when I use my computer, so I could probably just record off this and sync that up afterwards. But I
happily converted Lee. Lee was a I think he was a shotgun guy for a while. And I was like, Lee, you gotta. Well, yeah, I don't know. I since using a lav, I sing its praise. It's as long as you're not doing.
What do you plug it into? Are you just using like a Zoom, or what are you?
Yeah, Zoom. They have a XLR ins to the Zoom, so you just do that.
That's a lot of work. Syncing is a lot of work.
Yeah. It's quite a struggle. So Lee, excuse me, Dino asked if you've seen The Shape of Water since you loved The Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Yes, I did a review on it, Dino. What kind of buddy are you?
Dino.
I actually didn't think it was as amazing as people said it was. I didn't think it was bad though. I was just expecting groundbreaking. I think that I was expecting to be more about the creature, and they had the romance between the creature and the woman, and then they had all these other characters. With the other characters were great, but they didn't really focus in on the mystery behind the creature, and I like that kind of tale a little bit more. And it kind of seemed like they had so many characters, their characters were great, don't get me wrong, that they tried to kind of even out the storyline, where I would have liked it to hone into that.
So I'm being told to ask where the poster is.
So actually that's at work still. I need to grab it. I'm sorry, guys. People who watch my channel will know that I'm not a very big fan of one movie in particular. It's called the girl in the photograph. Have you heard about this movie? It's on Netflix. It's a horrendous movie. Anyway, I had one of my patrons was like, "Oh my god, I really want to send you like a housewarming gift," and I was like, "Oh, I'd feel bad. Like, please don't." Anyway, he ended up convincing me, and he sent me a poster, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is so exciting!" And I pulled it out, and it was the girl in the photographs, and it was the biggest like punked moment. Like he got me so good. It was so funny. So that's what they're referring to. But now everyone knows it was meant to be a joke, because I'm going to have a review one day and I'll put it in the background and it will confuse the fuck out of everyone because I talk about how much I hate it. So
just make sure the director doesn't see that.
That's all. Past that point. I've already pulled that movie to shreds. That's like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Don't get me started.
I will try not to. So, it's been a pretty long time. I'll end this with the question that I ask everybody before I close the episodes. My channel name is Will I Like It? So I ask you, if you were to find somebody to turn them onto your channel, who would you say would like your channel? Spooky Astronauts. I was going to call you Emma Astronauts.
I would say my channel, I mainly started it for this reason. I try and keep it toned towards that, although I do different content. I try to mix it up. My channel is mainly for somebody who is on the internet on like a Friday night and they're like, man, I really feel like watching a horror movie, but I don't know what to watch. That's what my channel is. It's you go to it. It doesn't give you an in-depth review by any means, but it tells you kind of like, what your channel is called, like Will I Like It? It tells you, I go into the aspects of why I like the film, and that's why I break it down into originality, scare, and personal score, because I think obviously personal score is my personal score, and I try and make that very obvious to you guys, because what I like might not be what you guys like. And it's more for somebody who's just looking for a movie, and I try to touch on films that maybe are in Netflix and you haven't even thought about watching. Or foreign films. It's just you looking for a movie and you're not really sure what to watch. And that's what a lot of people say with, I have monthly favorites where I go through my letterbox and I talk about every single movie I've watched that month. And people say they just take a pad and paper and write down films that I recommend. And it's just, if you're looking for a film and you don't really know what to watch, it kind of gives you a little bit of a stockpile of films to check out, which is so funny because your name, that's such a good name for a channel. I always thought that. Will I Like It? When they realize your name is not Will.
Yeah, my name's Will. I like it.
It would be so. You need to change your name. It'd be so good.
Yeah, just legally, just Will I
I'll do it.
So people genuinely get pads and paper.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I always have one when I do a live stream. I just I wrote down Hangman to look up afterwards, because I get as much recommendations from my videos like in the comment section as I give, which I love, and that's what I love about the community. But yeah, people just write down, because I go through like 30 movies. I probably watch like 20 to 30 movies a month. So I say this one is what I'd recommend, and people watch them.
Do you have viewers that are aligned with your taste, and or do you find yourself aligning yourself with certain viewers' tastes, or vice versa, saying like, all right, we just don't agree on anything?
I have a lot of people who say, thanks to you, I've seen so many movies I wouldn't have seen otherwise and wouldn't have known of. And I have a lot of people who agree with me completely, but I have some people who, say, oh my God, I totally don't feel the same way, but like, tell me why. And because I get so passionate about films and I'm so particular about the emotion in a film. Some people don't get that at all. But I also have some people, I follow everyone who follows me on Letterboxd, so I follow them all back, which is really interesting because you can see what everyone's watching and like what's trending within your group. So it's like, it's almost like we're feeding into each other's reviews, which is really cool. And then I have, like, there's this girl on there, I believe she's from Brazil. Her name is Keh, K-E-H, and that's her like username. I think she's on Twitter too. She's just someone who just watches my videos, and she watches the most amazing movies, and I find weird ass movies that I wouldn't have known of like before that. But you can tell when you start, because I read all my comments when I start talking to people and replying, I can tell when I have similar taste to some people. So yeah, you pick and choose. And so many people have recommended movies to me, and I've looked up what they're about and their ratings and stuff. And, if they're over a 5 and they seem really interesting, I normally check them out if I can reach them. So yeah, is that a long enough answer?
No, it's good. It's good.
I ramble so much. I'm so sorry.
No, it's good for this format. Trust me. So what do you have coming up on your channel in the foreseeable future?
Obviously reviews. Tomorrow I have a come with me for that movie, Thelma, which is a Norwegian.
It'll take me a while, but I'm sorry.
What?
You said come with me.
Yeah,
I'm terrible. I had to get one.
I was like, what? which is a film I saw at the outdoor cinema here, which I'm not sure if you know, I do those, comedy reviews where I go to the cinema. And I think that's fun because I always like seeing what different cinemas people go to. So I assume people wouldn't mind seeing where I go to, and I get that initial reaction. So yeah, I have that, a lot of reviews. I need to see, I have a schedule. My schedule, I normally block out things for the next 2 months. That's how far ahead I work.
Really?
I have Q&As coming out. I have a few TV show reviews and a more in-depth review of BBC's Ghostwatch, which I've spoken about recently. And I'm going to try and do a little bit more interviews with, I did one with Oliver Park, who was, I don't know if you saw this, he is a director of some short horror films. Okay. And I did like a Skype interview with him, and that was really interesting. And although it didn't get as much views as my reviews or whatever I get on my channel, I feel like people thought it was really interesting. He talked about where he gets his ideas for horror movies and his nightmares, and it was really weird. And I've got a couple of interviews lined up with people even in my town, which I think it's just fun. Normally I chuck up a review every Monday or Sunday to you guys, and then on the Fridays I try and mix it up with like a list or a favorites or a Q&A or whatever, so it's back and forth. But I have a lot coming up. I have a lot of ideas. It's just what I can actually get. But there will always be new ideas.
The struggles of a YouTuber.
That was a really good answer.
So any last words before we take off?
Thanks everyone for coming to the chat. That was so nice, and thank you so much, CP, for having me. It was really nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you, and thank you for taking part in this, and thank you on behalf of the horror community to get a little kick in the ass there.
Yeah. I'm glad it's like saved at least one person, which it has. I know Random Ross's channel has been saved because of it. So
that's awesome.
That's great.
That's awesome.
And that is somebody who his content is very crazy.
Doesn't film in a park.
I love me saying that. His content is insane, but he does a lot of content and he puts a lot of work into it, and he does a video almost every day. And he's been at it for years. So it is somebody who I'm never going to tell you to subscribe to people, and I don't say that, I don't really even say it in my own videos, and I'll never tell you, hey, go, you need to do this, or you need to subscribe to everyone on that playlist. But it's someone who it's great to see people have subscribed to him and found out who he is through that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, thanks again, Emma. Thanks everybody in the chat. And I guess we'll see you next week over on the horror crawl.
Yes. Yeah. Should be good.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.